Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to our guide on how to make money in Elite Dangerous in 2024. While the pace of change has slowed of the game's development, there's been very significant changes in the last few years that have made how to earn credits in the game change as well. In this video, we'll cover the 8 most lucrative activities that you can presently do in the game, together with a high-level description of how difficult they are to get into and perform, or whether they're situational or not. We'll also link in the details below what are the major references if you want to get into the details and specifics on how you go about performing that specific activity. This is not a comprehensive guide, and the credit estimates are entirely my own with input from some of the fellow members of Xeno Strike Force and Anti-Xeno Initiative, so if your results have been different, by all means, let us know in the comments below. And without further ado, let's get started. At number 8, we find Road to Riches. Road to Riches is a tool developed by Gareth Harper, who's made it available to the community. All you need to find it is Google Road to Riches Elite Dangerous, and you'll be directed to his website. It's essentially a plotter of exploration routes that allow you to find some high valuable things to scan on the way, and it is probably the most beginner-friendly way to make money in Elite Dangerous. It's currently estimated at somewhere between $20 to $40 million an hour, although you kind of need to be somewhat lucky on the route you take to be able to make that kind of cash. Next, we have the stacking of Massacre missions. Massacre missions can be shared in a wing and pay handsomely well for what they are. It's typically not that hard from a combat skill requirement, but it does require having a combat ship fitted and some at least basic level of combat ability. Furthermore, combat may or may not be for you. So for newcomers, there are better options on this list. And if you're really that skilled, there are also better options on this list that we're going to get to. However, if PvE combat is your thing, then Massacre wing stacking is going to be one of the most lucrative activities in the game, netting anywhere between 50 to 100 million credits an hour. At number 6, we have a more peaceful, but still mission-based alternative, which is running passenger missions from Robigo mines to the nearby point of interest of Sirius Atmospherics. At Robigo mines, which bear in mind is only a outpost, so it only fits medium and small size ships, you'll be able to pick up a large number of passenger missions to a pretty nearby point of interest, and by repeating that trip over and over, you'll be able to make a good amount of money and also obtain a series of mission materials, which are pretty nice grade 5 materials. The best ship people usually do this in is a passenger ship fitted Python, but you can do this in almost any ship, and the result is pretty beginner friendly. It does not involve any kind of combat or hostile activity. It is something that can get repetitive over time, so it's entirely up to you if that's your thing, but if it is the kind of activity that can get you somewhere between 100 and 150 million credits per hour. Mining, on the other hand, has become somewhat less lucrative in Odyssey as compared to Legacy Horizons. The overlap of hotspots in rings and mining sites no longer increases the overall density of minerals in that space, and as a result, the overarching money that can be made by mining in those areas has been somewhat diminished. So long are the golden age of the so-called egg. For those who have been around in Elite Dangerous for a while, you may know what I mean and what I refer to that, which is a very special asteroid that people mined back in the day for low temperature diamonds. Nowadays, the main mining activity is actually focused on laser mining platinum, which again, totally your take. If mining is your thing, then that's probably the best you can do in terms of cash right now with mining in a well-fitted ship, which is either a Python or equivalent or a cutter or equivalent. You'll probably be able to make somewhere between 100 to 150 million credits per hour. Besides that, and besides requiring at least some setup from a ship fitting standpoint, it is a pretty beginner-friendly activity to do. What Odyssey took away in the form of credits from mining, they more than give back in credits in Exobiology. Exobiology is the landing and going and scanning specific life forms on the surface of planets in your Artemis suit. All it requires is really Artemis suit, which you can buy from pretty much any store, and a ship with at least some basic jump range to be able to get around. But other than that, exobiology is exceptionally profitable for the risks involved, which are basically none. Like the only risk is for you to literally crash your ship into a planet while you're getting there. Other than that, you literally face no hostile activities whatsoever. And as I mentioned, it is extremely lucrative at somewhere between 300 and 500 million credits per hour. Moving past exobiology, we start getting into activities that are either situational or require a certain degree of preparation and skill, and consequently may not be for everyone or may not be specifically for you. Exobiology is probably the best money-making activity in the game currently if you take those special situations away. But if you do want to get yourself into situation topic activities, then activities such as the booze cruise are great for you. The booze cruise entails getting over to Rackham's Peak during a public holiday, which is a system at the very top of a galactic plane, which is only accessible via carrier jumps, as no ship has the jump range to be able to get there, not even boosted. So you need to hitch a ride on a friendly carrier, or you'll need your own carrier in order to be able to get there. Once you are there, people having stocked up on goods on carriers will let you unload those goods and sell them for a very significant profit margin in Rackham's Peak, which will net you anywhere between $400 to $600 million. I wish. 400 to 600 million credits per hour. At number 2, we start finding activity that requires at least some degree of preparation and skill, which is combat, and specifically anti-Xeno combat at a combat zone that has some kind of port support facilities, be they in space, because there's a station burning, which is actually not all that common, or be it on the ground, where there is ground installation burning, which is actually relatively more common. Having a station on site allows you to repair and rearm in the very instance, which makes for turnaround time being a lot faster, and consequently your overarching credit per hour is going up significantly. Having access to combat in a wing with those significant bonds that interceptors pay, and further compounded by the fact that interceptors do not have the exceptionally dangerous swarms when they're at the planetary sites, makes for incredibly good credits. It does require, however, an AX-fitted ship, and it does require some degree of expertise with regards to anti-Xeno combat, especially now that glaives can appear in these sites, and glaives have anti-guardian fields that can destroy your guardian weapons very, very quickly and ruin your day until you redock and repair, which might happen over and over again if you use guardian weapons in these anti-Xeno combat zones. Nevertheless, in an organized group, anti-Xeno combat zones at port sites are incredibly lucrative, and you can make upwards of 750 million to a billion credits per hour in a good wing. At the very top of our list, you'll find Farwood Spire sites, which you'll not be surprised about if you've been following my channel at all, or most elite-related channels, as everybody at this point understands how lucrative shooting down fortresses at Farwood Spires can be. See, each one of those is worth 40 million in bonds, and they can be shut down very, very quickly as they don't have hearts. Since Frontier Developments fixed the bug with so-called inbound orifices, however, farming Spire sites has become a lot more complex and challenging. It does require an organized group. It does require active communication among the participants so that people are focusing and coordinating fire and triggering EMPs at a time where they can, in a coordinated fashion, neutralize them. So it's no longer the turkey shoot that it used to be. The money is probably not quite as good as it used to be. But if you bring an organized group, it is still the best money-making activity in the game, with the ability to earn up to 1.5 to 2 billion credits per hour. As a reminder, however, this is not a beginner-friendly activity, and you should only engage in this if you're willing to be in a voice channel together and with other commanders that are coordinating fire. Otherwise, you're just going to have a bad day, honestly. And with that, we've completed a roundup of money-making activities in Elite Dangerous in 2024. But we'd love to hear about your own experience in making credits in the game. Do you agree with the estimates that we have? Do you have some activity that we haven't listed here, which might be even better or more money making worth? Or are there links or other resources that you recommend we include in the details below that can help people pursue these activities and learn more about them? And if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Wing up and strike, commanders, and glory to mankind.